Ms. Patrina Mosley is the Director of Life, Culture, and Women's Advocacy at the Family Research Council. Thank you for being here today. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you for having me. To the distinguished chairman, presiding member Senator Sasse, and honored members of the committee, my name is Patrina Mosley, and I am the Director of Life, Culture, and Women's Advocacy at the Family Research Council. As a policy analyst, my expertise and research center on human dignity, particularly regarding the sanctity of life and sexual exploitation. I am grateful to be invited here today to testify on the infant patient, ensuring appropriate medical care for children born alive. That is what the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act is all about, having protections for infants who have clearly become the patient. For some who believe that we already have adequate protections for infants born alive after a failed abortion attempt, this effort may seem like Groundhog Day. In 2002, Congress did pass the Born Alive Infants Protection Act, but this law was only a definitional change stating that all infants who survive abortion are full persons under the law. However, incidents involving born-alive infants being killed after an attempted abortion have continued even after this law was passed. In fact, the Center for Disease and Control and Prevention reports that from 2003 to 2014, at least 143 infants died after being born alive after surviving an abortion procedure. And the report admits that this estimate is an underestimate. The question then becomes, were these infants given care or simply left to die? The report does not tell us this. What it does tell us is that these infants clung on to life for more than 24 hours. Nearly 50% hung on to life for more than 4 hours. The CDC took this data from the National Vital Statistics System's mortality data regarding infant deaths, which included deaths occurring to infants who met the legal definition of a live birth, which includes any sign of life, breath, heartbeat, pulsation of the umbilical cord, or definite movement of voluntary muscles. So that's 143 babies that were reported to be clearly alive, but who later died. To date, there have been no cases involving prosecutions under the Born Alive Infants Protection Act for these 143 infants. Why? Because there is currently no federal criminal statute specifically prohibiting taking the lives of born alive infants or requiring them to have care. While the 2002 Born Alive Infants Protection Act gave us the base, recognizing that all infants born alive are persons, we now need to build on that with requirements that healthcare practitioners treat the infant with the same degree of care afforded to any other newborn. It must be made clear that infants born alive are full legal persons under the law and should not be discriminated against because they were born as a result of an abortion attempt. At this moment, federal law and 35 states do not adequately protect the lives of infants who survive abortion. So the dreaded question becomes, what actually happens to a child born alive after a failed abortion attempt? Are they administered medical care? Are they left to die or infanticide? Here are two personal accounts of abortion survivors. Gianna Jensen. Her mother went to Planned Parenthood to have a late saline abortion, but Gianna survived. She was delivered alive, but the abortionist was not in the office yet, and a nurse called an ambulance to transport her to the hospital. She became the patient. Melissa Oden. Her biological mother also had a saline abortion, but Melissa survived. Two nurses intervened, pulled her out of the trash bin, and sent her to the NICU. She became the patient. There was no legal or medical requirement to resuscitate Melissa or Gianna. They survived because someone acted with compassion. We cannot rely on the extraordinary for these infants who have a chance at life. Instead, we should expect that ordinary care be given to anyone considered a full person under the law. We have seen premature babies go on to live full lives by simply receiving adequate care. There can be no good reason for obstructing the care of an innocent child who has clearly become the patient unless one believes that child never should have been born at all, with the understanding that abortion is a tool of eugenics meant to target minorities, the disabled, and the poor, or the belief that there's something to be gained by enabling the industry of harvesting intact fetal parts. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act is about offering medical care to a child who has now become the patient, nothing else. We must decide as a country to be morally and logically consistent with ourselves, and that if any infant born alive is a full person under federal law, then they are worthy of humane care and protection under federal law. Thank you.
Thank you.